opponents that say, it's a fascinating idea. Oftentimes we eat, we're not even hungry. It's just because it's the time to eat. Thoreau says about anything, ask, why am I doing it? And if I can't come up with a good answer to it, then I just stop doing that thing. That's an interesting way to try and live your life. See, for the rest of this week, if every time you're going to do something, just ask, do I really need to do this? And if the answer to that is no, then he says, then maybe you shouldn't do it. It's a waste of time, maybe. The notion of simplicity is for Thoreau key. Another key concept for you is the idea of the morning. Thoreau is a great believer that if you sleep in physically, you sleep in spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Right? In other words, learning how to wake up in terms of this, monkey mind, is begun by learning how to get out of bed and go to work. Get up. Enough lying around. Thoreau will argue in Walden many times that one of the things he learned in the living alone in the woods was that the birds wake you up very early, especially in the spring. And he said when those birds start singing and you can't sleep anymore, get up. Watch the sun come up and be ready for your day. Why would you do that? Energy. Energy. He argues that if you can train your body to rise early, that your body will have more energy. Again, this is kind of like an experiment that you can try as well and see if it works for you. On page 381, I do not propose to write an ode to rejection, but to brag as lustily as a chanticleer in the morning. The very last paragraph. In the morning. In other words, get up and go to work in the early morning. See how well your mind can work in the early morning. Believe it or not, it does pretty well in the early morning. And as we, for example, talk with young people who join the military, they learn that getting up in the morning is a way to start your day right and to keep going all day long. Maybe it's another experiment for you. A man is rich in proportion to the things he can live without. There's Walden. Okay? The idea is try to simplify your life and to come to the understanding of what genuinely matters. Let's work through now our annotations. We obviously have done some work at level 2A in terms of major messages. You could probably reduce all of it down to a single line. Go ahead and try real quickly. If you had to reduce everything you've been taught now about Thoreau and Walden to just one line, what would it be for you? Of all the ideas that Thoreau threw at you, what was your favorite? That's another way to say it, And we'll come back to that one in 3B as well. In terms of 2B, there's any number of places we can go to find an idea that for us is kind of an interesting one. But I want to look on page 384. Time is but the stream I go a-fishing in. What an interesting idea of time. To see time in this way is an interesting metaphor. Notice then we are at 2B. Notice Thoreau's, also you can jot this down at 2B. Notice Thoreau's references to classic literature. He will mention the great Roman writer Cato. Your book even will give you the information on 382 about the Greek gods. In other words, Thoreau writes assuming an audience that knows something about the Greeks. Now, why would Thoreau be going back to the Greeks? And who's the most influential Greek for him? We've mentioned him already, the great teacher Socrates, who will die in what year? 399 BCE. Socrates for Thoreau, just like for Emerson, is an important model of a man who lives his life examined. But what happens to him at the end? Well, he's killed. But Thoreau points out that seems to happen to a lot of people who live their life on their own terms, right? Oftentimes, bad things happen to them. They are killed, in any number of ways, right? They are ignored. Let's go to 3A. Now, this is an interesting question. What is your favorite text, whether it be a movie or a TV show or a video game, that teaches the idea that life should be lived for its own value. It might be, for example, a film about a person who discovers that he or she is going to die, and in the process of coming to terms with death, finds life and finds the value of life. What about a text or a movie where you have a nonconformist, somebody who goes in the opposite direction? One of my favorite is Robert Cormier's very famous little book called The Chocolate War. Are you familiar with this book? The Chocolate War. It's about a young boy in high school who's in an all-boys high school, and every year they raise money in a fundraiser by selling chocolates. Every boy is given his share of chocolates, and every boy is expected to sell them. And when it comes time for Jerry to get his chocolates from Brother Leon, the teacher, Brother Leon calls Jerry's name out, "Come up and get your chocolates." Jerry does this. No. Brother Leon goes, "I'm sorry, you did not hear what I had to say. Up here and get your chocolates so you can sell chocolates for the school fundraiser." And again, Jerry goes. Now Brother Leon is being challenged in front of the other students. And he says, "I'm only going to say it one more time. Get your can up here and get your chocolates." And one more time, Jerry goes, "I ain't doing it. I ain't selling no chocolates." The rest of the novel is the story of how all of the school turns against this kid because he refuses to sell the chocolates. The teachers are mean to him. The kids beat him up in the bathroom. But the worst of all is when he comes to school and everybody at school looks past him like he doesn't exist. He's walking the halls and people look past him. Nobody makes eye contact. The novelist tells us that several times Jerry has to jump into the bathroom to look at himself in a mirror to make sure he's still there. Why? Because he feels like he doesn't exist anymore because of the way he's being treated. Okay? This famous novel suggests that sometimes when you stand up, you pay the price. All right, let's go to 3B finally. How about it? What is your favorite observation from Walden? What do you have to say about these ideas? What is for you one way right now you could simplify your life? What is one thing that you could take out of your life which would make your life less complex? Make your life more simple. Now, some things you can't so easily take out of your life, can you? There are some things that you have to do. Going to school, sometimes is this for us. Having a job. What about your attitude? What does Thoreau seem to suggest about one way that maybe you could change your attitude to make yourself have just a little bit more energy? Finally, since we are at energy, let's ask that question. To what degree do you feel that your energy levels are either good or bad? How would you gauge them right now even? What would you say about your energy levels? Would you say you could do a better job of having good energy? Are you a morning person? Do you like getting up in the morning? Why not? What is it about the morning that bugs you? Right? And do you think you could change your attitude on that count? Finally, do you like the ideas of Thoreau? Do you see any value in some of the stuff that he's arguing from Walden? So there you go, an introduction to Thoreau's Walden. Thank you.